This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Science. Hello, everybody. Let's go ahead and open up that waiting room as folks, you're in for a treat today. As there are moments in health where something was once dismissed quietly and are now coming back into the conversation. Hello, everybody. My name is Becca Dukes, and welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. I am honored to provide this as a resource of knowledge and information for each and every one of you. So that includes the people you're going to share this program with. So make sure that you are subscribed to our channel and share it with your community. Now, we're not going to be talking as a trend and not a theory, but as something worth taking a second look at. Today is one of those moments, and I am super excited as it's also Pharmacist Friday. So you know what that means. We are joined by a man who has spent decades at the intersection of pharmacy, nutrition, and biochemistry. A voice of clarity in a world full of confusion. I'm speaking of none other than pharmacist Ben Fuchs. And today's conversation goes beyond the surface. From skepticism to science, the redemption of vitamin C in the infusion chair. So for years, vitamin C has been overlooked, simplified, and even dismissed. But what happens when you look deeper? What happens when science begins to catch up to what some have been saying all along? So folks, make sure that you are ready to take notes as we're going to be going through questions and the possibilities, because it isn't just about a vitamin. It's about understanding how the body works and what it truly needs to do what it was designed to do. So lean in as we're going to move from skepticism to science. Let's welcome pharmacist Ben Fuchs and step into Pharmacist Fridays here on Daily with Doc and Becca. Pharmacist Ben, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, so when I got this article that we're going to be discussing that introduces or reintroduces vitamin C as part of a therapy or a treatment that enhances other treatments, I was like, all right, let's see how Pharmacist Ben navigates this one, because there's a few things that have been raised questions in my mind, but also make sense when it comes to helping the body and building the immune system and the cells and everything the vitamin C does. So I'm going to let you just go ahead and jump in as we're going to be talking about this article. And I'm going to let you introduce it.
Well, let's talk about the article first. Then I want to hear your questions before I jump into it. I thought the article was really interesting when I saw it, because it kind of exemplifies how sometimes what goes for conventional wisdom, what passes for conventional wisdom by medical folks, flies in the face of A, what we talk about in terms of alternative health and alternative nutrition, but B, based on this article, sometimes not more conventional folks as well. This is an article that was highlighting the research of a guy named Gary Buettner, who's a PhD at the University of Iowa. PhDs from the University of Iowa, or PhDs from any university, are not known for their predilection for alternative types of healing strategies. So this for an article to come out that talks about the importance of an alternative therapy that the mainstream model rejects is pretty dramatic. But vitamin C's potential use for cancer has been known about in the alternative world for decades. Vitamin C is a very powerful antioxidant, but as it turns out, and you may know this, antioxidants are also pro-oxidants. and I don't know if we should get into the whole how oxidation works idea, but remember our Mickey Mouse
Mhm.
ears. When a Mickey Mouse donates an ear to another Mickey Mouse, it itself becomes a pro-oxidant. The ability to donate an ear is called antioxidancy, or that's what an antioxidant does. But as you can tell logically, once an ear is gone, now that formerly solid molecule or complete molecule becomes a pro-oxidant, which from our experience as alternative nutrition company and as folks who represent alternative nutrition, seems like it would be a problem. It's important to recognize, though, pro-oxidation or oxidation is a very functional biochemical phenomena. Oxidation occurs all the time, and oxidation is one of the ways that cells communicate to each other. It's one of the ways cells protect themselves. And in this case, pro-oxidation actually has anti-cancer effects that are not available when vitamin C is used orally. And that is the crux of the problem. Research distinguishes between nutritional supplement vitamin C or nutritionally supplemented vitamin C, like oral vitamin C, and pharmacological vitamin C, which functions at high concentrations. And so when super high concentrations of vitamin C are injected into the bloodstream, you get pro-oxidant effects that can have chemotherapeutic benefits, anti-cancer benefits. And because vitamin C is non-toxic, and it's a constituent of a normal constituent of the blood and normal constituent of the body, you don't have to go through the whole detox process that you do when you take chemotherapy, when you take any kind of drugs, but especially chemotherapy. Additionally, and this is also logical if you think about it, it turns out, based on this research, that there's synergy with chemotherapy. So the vitamin C actually helps optimize chemotherapeutic drugs, optimizes the effects of chemotherapeutic drugs, which is the exact opposite of what mainstream medicine tells you. Mainstream medicine tells you don't use vitamin C because it will counteract chemotherapeutic drugs. It will reduce their effectiveness. Well, it turns out, based on this research, in certain cancers, pharmacological ascorbate, i.e. vitamin C, can help optimize specific enzymes that are involved in methylation, or we'll just say involved in DNA, and the net effect is a complementary benefit with certain chemotherapeutic drugs. So it turns out, and that's why I thought the article was interesting, that once again we find that what passes for conventional wisdom, and with the vast majority of people, not on this call, because we're exceptions here, if you're on this call, but the vast majority of people believe conventional wisdom. It turns out that, as no surprise to us here on the call, is not always correct. Now, you were going to ask me something about this?
Yes, because we're talking, usually we're doing oral supplementation.
Yeah.
And if it's not oral, then it's through injection or IV. And in
Correct.
the past, you've said you're not in favor of injecting stuff into your body. But this is a little different.
You don't want to inject foreign substances into the bloodstream that will initiate immune reactions. So the blood is a sacred space, and when you put something into the blood doesn't recognize, like a piece of foreign genetic material, for example, just to use one example, or anything really, the body mounts an immune response. That's not going to happen with vitamin C. You're not going to get an immune response to vitamin C. So you don't have to worry about disturbing the blood. IV nutrition is awesome. And while liquid nutrition is the best way to get nutrients into your body from a convenience perspective, because you can do it at home, juices, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, smoothies, soups, stews, etc. If you can do IV nutrition conveniently and inexpensively, it's a great way to get nutrients into your body. And when people have cancer or some severe life-threatening illness, it's really preferred to get, because you can get high doses of nutrients into the blood and you bypass the digestive system. So it really is excellent. Everybody should be doing, in my opinion, everybody should be doing IV nutrition if it's available, especially if you're sick.
So, especially if you're sick. Now,
severely sick.
So there's several different types and forms of vitamin C. Why would they choose ascorbate?
Ascorbate is ascorbic acid. That's the standard form. That's the form the body uses. There's a lot of deluxe forms of vitamin C, but at the cell level where the cell utilizes the vitamin C, it's ascorbate. That's the kind that the cell utilizes. There's
And I know,
there's transporters. There's special protein molecules that actually will transport the ascorbate molecule into cells.
okay. Now, I've had a lot of people come back to me and say ascorbic acid is a synthetic form of vitamin C.
That's why a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. That's why you don't pay attention to people who don't know anything about chemistry. Oh, I heard this, I read this, and then unfortunately there's people who should know better, chiropractors and I've seen and alternative practitioners who say ascorbate is not vitamin C, it's synthetic. Those are all, as Richard Feynman, the famous Nobel Prize winning physicist, used to say when he was dismissing silliness, he would say, that's not even wrong. And that's what I think of. That's not even wrong. That's below wrong. It's not even worth addressing. But since you brought it up, the cell uses ascorbate, period. And any knucklehead who tells you that's not vitamin C doesn't understand chemistry. Let me say it again. The cell uses ascorbate. And anybody who tells you ascorbate is ascorbic acid, essentially, is not vitamin C, is a knucklehead and doesn't understand chemistry, period. However, that being said, and I mentioned earlier, there's a transporter for ascorbate. You raised 2 points. First of all, there are cofactors in nature that come with vitamin C or with ascorbic acid called flavonoids, phenolic groups. These flavonoids and phenolic groups will help the ascorbate molecule work more effectively. So it's not 100% incorrect to say that ascorbate is not going to be as valuable as a natural source, like from a berry, for example. Because with the berries, you get these flavonoids that support the activity of the ascorbate. That doesn't mean the ascorbate is not working. It means it will work a little bit better with the flavonoids. And natural is always the way to go. Supplemental nutrition is not ideal. It's just the best we can do because our food is so deficient because nobody eats right. Ideally, we live in the Garden of Eden and we eat natural and everything's perfect and we get all the nutrients we need. And the soil's wonderful and, we don't have to cook and we don't have busy lives and we don't like fast food. That's not the world we live in. So dosing with ascorbate or dosing orally with supplements is really like an insurance policy. It's the best we could do. It's not perfect because food's always the perfect form because God put cofactors in with nutrients such as ascorbate. It's not to say ascorbate's not valuable. And anybody who tells you it's not vitamin C doesn't know what they're talking about. It's literally the cure for scurvy. This is how vitamins are assessed, whether they cure deficiency disease. Scurvy is the deficiency disease is caused by vitamin C deficiency. Vitamin C is synonymous with ascorbic acid. The word ascorbic means ascorbic, without scurvy. It literally is the molecule that cures scurvy, literally. It's right in the name. So anybody who tells you it's not vitamin C is completely wrong, ignorant to say it. They shouldn't even say that. That's not to say that food is always better. The problems with food nutrients are you can't get the high doses. So you're talking about 20 milligrams, 30 milligrams, the highest. You know what food source has the most vitamin C, by the way?
Is it a berry?
It's not a berry, actually.
Uh-oh.
Chili peppers. And that's really high, and you get like 400 milligrams of vitamin C. But we're talking about, to get really great benefits, you need 1,000 milligrams, 2,000 milligrams. It's very difficult to get it from food. And that's true about all nutrients. We believe, Longevity believes, I believe, Dr. Wallach believes, orthomolecular scientists, orthomolecular clinicians, orthomolecular means you correct molecule or refers to nutritional supplementation, believes you need to get high doses of things, way past the RDA. The RDA for vitamin C is like 60 milligrams. And that's great if you don't want to have scurvy, or 60 to 100 milligrams. That's great if you don't want scurvy, but if you want to thrive, and this is very important when it comes to vitamin C, I'll talk about this here in a second, you need higher doses. You're not going to get them from food, even though you will get the cofactors. So eat your food because you get the cofactors. Eat your chili peppers, your kiwi, your papaya, your melons, your berries, all good sources of vitamin C, but also supplement with ascorbic acid. And so ascorbate is vitamin C. That's point number one. Point number two is You can't get the high doses that you need if you just account for food as better as as much as food nutrients are going to be valuable because of the cofactors. Now, the thing about vitamin C that's really important to recognize. Everybody knows about vitamin C for colds. Now we hear about vitamin C for cancer. People will tell you that vitamin C helps you build collagen if you have wrinkles for topically, et cetera, et cetera. But here's really where the massive importance of this incredibly non-toxic pluripotent molecule. Pluripotent means it has multiple benefits. The signs of scurvy used to be this horrible, horrible disease. It would kill. It was one of the major causes of death up until the 17th century or so, and even past the 17th century, it was a cause of death. And y'all heard the story, I'm sure. Vitamin C, scurvy used to affect. It was very common. It was a very common disease that used to affect a lot of people, but especially affected sailors, because sailors didn't eat well back in the day. They were sailing and there was no refrigeration. They couldn't have fresh foods, so they were subsisting basically on biscuits and I forgot what they called them, just awful food, maybe fish if they were lucky. Sea biscuits, that kind of thing. And so they were notorious for being malnourished, and they would die a lot. And one of the most important sources of malnourishment or causes of malnourishment was vitamin C deficiency, because vitamin C is only found in fresh food and it's very quickly degraded, particularly produce. And it would kill a lot of sailors. It was not unusual for like 90% of the sailors who went on a trip to be killed by scurvy. That was not unusual. It was, and scurvy is a horrible, horrible disease. Well, it turns out, as most people know, there was an admiral in the British Navy who, not an admiral, a doctor in the British Navy. They made him an admiral later, but I think they did. Don't quote me on that. But he was a doctor, and he noticed that when the sailors went off the ship and went to the islands and started to eat mangoes and berries and citrus fruits, their scurvy disappeared. So he started to recommend or suggest that the shipping companies provided sailors with citrus fruits, and lo and behold, nobody got scurvy. So it was known that there was something in citrus that would cure scurvy for a couple of centuries, from like the 17th century to the early part of the 20th century. They didn't know what it was, but they knew that it was something in citrus. Well, in the early part of the 20th century, probably the most brilliant chemist who ever lived, and my hero, just the most amazing, amazing biochemist, period. Probably the most amazing. He was the guy who trained Linus Pauling, who took this guy's wisdom and kind of made it popularized it. He discovered the actual molecule that was in citrus that was doing it, and he named, because it was acidic, it was an acidic molecule, he named it ascorbic acid because it cured scurvy. It was literally the molecule that cured scurvy. Today we know it as vitamin C. Vitamin C or ascorbic acid. Vitamin C is ascorbic acid, period. It's a synonym. It's the exact word. Vitamin C is ascorbic acid. And some people will tell you that no, it's not because of the cofactors. Vitamin C, ascorbic acid, whatever term you want to use, is the cure for scurvy. That's how you know it's the vitamin, because it cures the deficiency disease. The way B3 or niacin cures pellagra, the way vitamin D cures rickets, the way vitamin A cures night blindness, the way vitamin B1 cures beriberi. Literally, that's how they define these vitamins. They cure deficiency states. So after citrus and after ascorbic acid, nobody had scurvy anymore, because we all knew a little bit of vitamin C would cure scurvy. And I mean a little bit, 60 to 100 milligrams of vitamin C would cure scurvy. However, what we have today, while we don't have scurvy, let me tell you what scurvy is, first of all. Scurvy is a disease where you finally die, where your blood vessels explode. Your blood vessels become very weak. Your bones become very weak. Your gums become very weak. Your skin becomes very, very fragile. Your heart doesn't function as effectively. These are all the signs of scurvy. And we don't have that anymore, but we do have something else, which is subclinical scurvy. Subclinical scurvy is all the signs of scurvy, but it's subclinical. What does that mean? It means you don't go to the clinic being the hospital. It doesn't put you in the hospital. It doesn't kill you. It's subclinical, but it will still cause your bones to become weak. It will still cause your joints to become weak. It will still cause your heart and your blood vessels to become weak. It will still cause your skin to become fragile. What do we call subclinical scurvy based on all those symptoms? We call it aging. Aging is subclinical scurvy. The symptoms of subclinical scurvy or symptoms of scurvy are aging. So what does that tell you about vitamin C? Vitamin C is not only the anti-scurvy, it's the anti-aging vitamin. And because we're all underdosing on it, yeah, we're not getting scurvy because all you need is a 60 to 100 milligrams to have scurvy. Great. But we're missing the boat. We're missing the opportunity to prevent osteoporosis and arthritis and wrinkles and skin problems and fragile skin, bruises and weakness in the skin and vascular issues. And because cholesterol has to protect against vascular issues, now we have lower blockages and lower cholesterol. So dosing with vitamin C in high doses is critical for slowing down aging. And nobody's telling us this, and it could very well be that accelerated aging that we're all experiencing is nothing more than a vitamin C deficiency. And I don't know that for a fact, but the evidence lends itself to at least that being a possibility. And given the complete non-toxic nature of vitamin C, it seems crazy not to just be taking super high doses every day, especially if you're sick, because vitamin C also is important for the immune system. Vitamin C and glucose also compete. So the more sugar you're eating, the less vitamin C you're going to get in your cells. And we're all eating lots of sugar. So there's a lot of reasons. There's a very compelling case to be made that vitamin C deficiency is behind a lot of health problems, even though nobody has scurvy anymore. And according to the mainstream RDA, the ridiculous deficiency allowance, all you need is 60 to 100 milligrams. Now, throw into the mix the fact that only human beings and the fruit bat and a guinea, some species of guinea pig and a species of gorilla don't make their own vitamin C. Every other animal in the animal kingdom makes vitamin C. Squirrels and cats and dogs and horses and goats, and you name it, giraffes and elephants, they would all make their own vitamin C. What's more, when an animal is under stress, it makes extra vitamin C, sometimes tripling and quadrupling its vitamin C synthesis in response to stress. So what does that tell you? You've got this incredible tool for anti-aging, for strengthening the immune system, for helping the body handle stress. It's completely non-toxic. It's ridiculously cheap. I mean, absurdly cheap. And everybody is missing the boat on it. Not on this call, but the masses of us are missing the boat on this thing. And so I love vitamin C. As a biochemist, I think it's the most incredible molecule in the entire nutritional pantheon. And when you follow nutrition, and you probably can relate to this, you develop these predilections for certain nutrients. You kind of get fond of them, like they're your children or something, And that's how I feel about vitamin C. It's just such an amazing molecule. And to hear people diss on it, medical folks diss on it, or somehow not appreciate its value, not only as a curative agent for illnesses or a protective agent for stress, but just for anti-aging, for slowing down the aging process, it's very disappointing. And then you throw into the stew the concept that vitamin C is important for fighting cancer as a chemotherapeutic agent, which has been known in the world of alternative medicine for decades, but completely dismissed and marginalized by mainstream medicine, all of which is why I thought this article was really interesting and really important.
Well, I mean, vitamin C is essential for making collagen, like you said.
Yes,
so when you're not
collagen. So what is collagen? So what is collagen? We hear about that term all the time, right? It's protein, but what is it? What's its functionality?
It holds our body together, like our skin, our blood vessels, the gums, the bones.
Absolutely, that's the case. It holds our body together, but it's more than that. It's connective tissue. I was just talking to a friend of mine this morning, and she's 83 years old, and she's dealing with a pelvic floor prolapse. Prolapses are defects in the connective tissue. The body, when we talk about holding the body in place, yes, it does that. Collagen does that. Obviously, it's part of the name connective tissue, but it's more than that. Collagen is highly electrical. It has electrical charges on it. Those electrical charges are very important for several reasons. Number one, those electrical charges allow the collagen to to generate charges when it's pressed. We call that piezoelectricity. And this piezoelectricity, these electrical charges that are generated by the collagen molecule when it's pressed or compressed, are important for electrical energy in the body. So in addition to being important for holding the structure in place, keeping the organs intact, holding the body intact, if you will, it's also important for generating electrical charges. It also functions as what's called a semiconductor in electronics. It has an electronic, it's analogous to electronics in computers in the sense that it can process information and it can store information. And that's why, as we've said many times, when people get massages, they'll cry on the massage table. They're actually releasing old memories. Dr. Wilhelm Reich was famous for saying that we contract and we hold on to, we armor when we have trauma, and armoring creates little pockets of death that ultimately can cause disease and accelerated aging and an early demise. So collagen also, in addition to being piezoelectric, it also is a semiconductor that holds energy, that holds information, stores information. And I don't want to say most importantly, but maybe most importantly, if the body is 60 to 70% water, as we all hear all the time, when you think about it, we should be sloshing around like a puddle as we walk around the sidewalk, right? As we do our business. Obviously, that doesn't happen. If we're 60 to 70% water, I should be able to pinch my arm and water should come out. Obviously, that doesn't happen. Why is that? Why aren't we sloshing around? Why aren't we dripping water every time we squeeze our body? Because the water is trapped. It's a solid form of water, it's a semi-solid form of water. It's called structured water, easy water. Unless anybody believes this is pseudoscience, it's not. It's hardcore physics. Structural, collagen maintains the structure of the water. Why is that important? Because structured water transmits information much more effectively than we call bulk water. Bulk water is not very, it doesn't have an information, it has some storage capacity. You can still store information, but nothing like easy water, structured water, crystalline water, hexagonal water. There's a lot of different terms for it. Coherent water. This structured water is coherent, and it gives the water a functionality that's analogous to a laser versus or I should say the relationship between the coherent water or structured water and tap water or bulk water, as it's called, is the difference between a laser and a light bulb. Light bulb is great for reading, but you're not going to shoot a satellite out of the sky or run your computer or CD player or carve out a tumor with a light bulb, but you can with a laser. But you can with a laser because the laser's light is not scattered like in a light bulb. It's coherent, it's aligned, it's organized, it's structured. That's the difference between structured water and non-structured water. Structured water is very functional. It transmits information very effectively. If you take a rock and you throw it into a pond or a body of water, the rock will, right where you throw the rock, and you'll get ripples, right? Waves, if you will. And these waves will disperse. They'll be strongest right where you threw the rock. And then as you move on, the waves will get less and less and less until they disappear, right? Well, with solid water, that doesn't happen. With solid water, the waves do not disperse. They stay the same. That's called a wave that stays the same is called a soliton wave. And that tells you that the information is not lost. The information is stored and it's conserved as you go from the bottom to the top. And that makes structured water, the body's structured water, important for information processing. As we age and as our collagen deteriorates, the water loses its structure. It's the collagen and hyaluronic acid and minerals, electrolytes, that are holding the water into the structured form. And as the collagen and the connective tissue in general deteriorates, the water sinks. It loses its structure. And you can observe this by what I've called, and you know, it sounds funny, but it's really what happens, blobification. And you can see as we get older, we blobify. We lose our structure, we lose our coherency, and people panic at that point, and they'll do all kinds of things surgically and with injections and facelifts and hyaluronic acid and silicone, all kinds of stuff in order to avoid that. Well, the best way to avoid it or reverse it is to build your collagen. which is why, by the way, my Truth Treatment skincare products are all about building collagen. It's the very essence of topical anti-aging, not smearing a cream on the surface of your skin, but driving the production of collagen. Retinol, retinoic acid, vitamin C, topical. That's why vitamin C is so important. But internally, which is always, way more important, always trumps topical, is oral doses of vitamin C in high concentration. And you get that collagen building benefits from ascorbic acid. Yes, if you use plums and berries and papaya, etc., you'll get the cofactors, and it's probably a good idea to do that too, but you still want to dose yourself with high doses of vitamin C. In this article, according to this article, if you have cancer, this represents a very powerful, cheap, chemotherapy that costs you tens of thousands of dollars a month. This stuff costs you, I don't know, a couple $100 a month. It's cheap. It's like dirt cheap, relatively speaking. It's non-toxic completely, and it'll support your chemotherapy if you so desire to do chemotherapy. But you may not even desire to do chemotherapy.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm doing this right, setting a good example. So is it okay that in addition to my Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which has anywhere from 1,250
that's one of the
milligrams of vitamin C?
Yeah, it's one of the most important things about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, in my opinion, is the vitamin C content. Yes.
Okay. And then I'm also doing mineral sticks that have collagen and minerals, which minerals are also electrical.
Yes, that's right. It's the combination of the electrolytes, hyaluronic acid, and collagen that keep your water structured.
Okay. And then if I'm using the collagen creamer in my coffee, which is giving me another, I think, 7 grams of collagen.
Yep.
And then the 15 grams of collagen in the mineral sticks, and then another scoop of collagen in something else. And even I put it in my desserts. Can I overdo my collagen?
No, can't overdo your collagen.
Can I overdo my vitamin C?
No, you can't overdo your vitamin. If you do too much vitamin C all at once, vitamin C absorbs water. So if you do your vitamin C all at once, you may get bloated. If you do an extreme amount, you may get some diarrhea. In fact, vitamin C has been used as a laxative for that reason. Because, or as they say, an osmotic evacuant, which is the technical term. It's an osmotic evacuant because it absorbs water, osmosis, and it causes evacuation, a bowel movement. But it can make you feel uncomfortable, crampy, bloaty. It's not, I don't, unless you really don't have any other options, it's not the best laxative in the world. But small amounts can keep you regular. But it can, you asked about, there's no toxicity, but side effects can kind of bloat you. If you do ridiculous amounts, you probably want to do it with selenium and vitamin E and glutathione, building molecules, etc., because it's a pro-oxidant, and you always want to have a stream of antioxidants to prevent a musical chairs phenomena where there's one pro-oxidant that's left standing, which is why you want a stream of antioxidants coming into your body at all times. Alpha lipoic acid, vitamin A, selenium, zinc. These all have an ability to donate Mickey Mouse ears.
Which all of those are included in the Tangy Tangerines.
Absolutely. All of them are included in
awesome.
Beyond Tangy.
All right. Well, we've got some hands up, so let's go ahead and get to some questions.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get scolded later today, not because I did not know the answer to your hot pepper question,
no,
especially since
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. I'm sorry.
Well, so he's going to like, Becca, I eat 2 of them with every dinner. How did you not know that?
Who said that?
Well, my partner.
Okay, gotcha. You didn't know that?
Well, no, I did know that. It just slipped my mind.
Okay.
Because we've talked about it.
Is your partner on the call?
He is not on the call at the moment, but he does watch our replays.
Oh, good. Do I know him? Have I met him?
You have talked with him, yes.
Okay. What's his name?
Ivan.
Ivan. I gave him a ticket. I gave him a ticket to.
You did.
Oh, you didn't tell me he was your partner. Yes, I know Ivan. Hello, Ivan.
So, yes. All right. Let's get to some questions. And let's first go to Marilyn, who's had her hand up before the show started.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hi there. Yeah, we were talking about vitamin injections.
Yes.
And I'm all for them. And I took vitamin C. many years
Yeah.
ago in Mexico.
Yeah.
They ate a big, and I felt the heat right away. I
Yeah.
don't know why it produces heat, but it's excellent. But I was at Fraser Farms. It's almost like a Whole Foods.
Okay.
It's really big in Southern California. There's like 3 locations. And there was a
Okay.
woman in the vitamin department this week, and she was offering vitamin injections. She takes
Very
them once
nice.
a week, and she was
Yeah.
giving all the B complex, glutathione,
Great.
NAD, and now I
That's
didn't
awesome.
know what these other 2 were. It's BPC-157.
BPC-1. That sounds like, I don't know what it is. It's not a vitamin.
It says musculoskeletal recovery and
It's something, yeah,
cellular.
it sounds like it's a brand name for something, or maybe it sounds like a peptide of some kind.
Okay. And
But
then
it
she had
sounds,
another one.
it sounds like a brand name for a peptide. I would get, it sounds like a peptide, but go
Okay,
ahead.
what about Lipo Plus? And she had in parentheses
That's a brand.
MIC.
Say, what is it? MHC?
MIC.
It's called Lipo Plus. That's a
Yeah.
brand name. I don't know what Lipo Plus would be.
It said for
does
weight
it-
loss and cholesterol, mental health, and hormonal health.
You know, and what were the letters?
M like Marilyn, I
Yeah.
like go C
Yeah.
like Carol.
Yeah, that's a complex of vitamin. That's actually a complex of the MIC is a methionine, which is an amino acid, helps you burn fat.
Okay.
And then inositol and choline, all of which are kind of lipotropics. They help you burn fat, basically.
Yeah, because inositol is a fiber, right?
What's that?
Inositol is a fiber, right?
No, that's inulin.
Oh, inulin. Okay.
No, inositol is it's a pseudo B vitamin, part of the.
Oh.
Yeah, it's associated. I don't know if it's literally part of the B complex, but it's associated with the B complex. It helps break down fats. It also helps you sleep. It also has a relaxing effect. Choline it's in there for fat metabolism, but that is an incredibly underappreciated, incredibly valuable nutrient. And it is also the most recent official essential nutrient. It was determined to be an essential nutrient in the 1990s. So it's considered to be the most recent, and it's very important for nerve function. It's part of the lecithin molecule. It's part of the bile molecule. It's part of bile, and it's also a very important part of nerve cell membrane. So it plays a tremendously valuable role for a lot of functions, but especially for the brain and the nervous system. And eggs are one of nature's best sources of choline.
She wanted anywhere from $10 to $50 per shot.
Well worth it.
Well worth it.
Even $50.
How often? I mean, if
I
could.
Oh, wait a minute. Of the Lipo Plus or of the whole thing?
Of different ones. Like,
yeah, the $50 for everything?
No. She had some packages for like $225 for like a big combination of all of it. But no, most of them individually were like anywhere from $10 to $50. Like NAD was $50.
NAD's not quite as important, but
glutathione was $30.
Yeah, glutathione's amazing. Glutathione for $30 is amazing. I don't know how much she's giving you, but glutathione's amazing. I saw that. I know I've told the story before, but not in a long time. I saw this video of this guy who's a Parkinson's disease patient, and he was they filmed him, and he was walking, and he was kind of doing the Parkinson's walk. He was stumbling, and he didn't have good balance. He couldn't really walk very well. And then they showed him after a glutathione injection, and he's like, boom, normal, 1 injection. Glutathione is the body's most important antioxidant detoxifier. Very, 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 very helpful molecule. You can't get it orally.
Melatonin and selenium?
Selenium is involved with glutathione. Better than melatonin for sure. I don't want to say better. They're all important. It's not like one's more important than the other, but yes, more powerful. Glutathione is, you can't eat it. You can't get there's no glutathione oral supplements really. They do make them, but they're not very effective. The way to get glutathione orally is to take in the building blocks of glutathione. So glutamine is one of the building blocks of glutathione, for example, very important. Cysteine is another one. That's why N-acetylcysteine is so important. So eating protein, getting good sources of protein is the best way to build your glutathione. But IV, you bypass digestion. So IV glutathione, the glutathione goes right into your system. So I'm a big fan of IV.
That's what she told me. I asked her, I says, what do you think? And she says, well, I do it once a week, all of these. And she says it bypasses the digestive system.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. And, if we really cared about health in this country, we would have easy access to these things, inexpensive access to these things. But You know, we don't care about health. We care about doctors and their livelihoods and their Mercedes and their, you know, their status. That's what we care about, really. It's not really health.
Vitamin C that I was getting in Mexico was actually from a American doctor that had to go to Mexico to actually supply it to people. And he only charged like $20 for it at the time, but this is back around 2000, the year 2000.
That's awesome. 20.
But
That's you can't turn down that offer.
I know.
Vitamin C is really cheap. And you know, I meant to address this with Rebecca. This whole thing about synthetic, I don't even understand that distinction. Synthetic. What does that mean? Synthetic. If something's synthetic, is basically purified, but what? Because you made it somewhere is like less valuable somehow. Vitamin C is all synthetic. The vitamin C molecule, it has to be synthesized.
People worry that humans are altering it in a lab, not like God given. That's why they say.
Well, humans are part of the animal kingdom the way a bee is. A bee makes honey. Do people worry that honey is not that's made by a bee? It's not really a flower. You know, we eat honey. We think that's all natural. Some bees make honey. Some gardens have to be cultivated. Things have to be somehow manipulated. They don't just appear. So this whole distinction, even the berry, the vitamin C in the berry has to be heated. You have to have solvents. You have to grind it up. You got to do all kinds of stuff. So it's not like things just spontaneously appear in the sky. They have to be processed somehow. So this idea that because I processed it in a lab or human processed in a lab, it's less valuable, that's nonsense. And I defy anybody to try and give me a coherent, logical, intelligent argument why it's not nonsense.
Interesting. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Great questions, Marilyn. Thank you so much. And yeah, so bees do it all like in inert process. So interesting.
Yes, and whereas vitamin C is synthesized out of corn, the main source of vitamin C is corn. You know, glucose from corn, sugar from corn. Glucose is converted into vitamin C very effectively. They're somewhat similar from a molecular structure, from a molecular structural perspective.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's go to the next question.
Yes.
As we have a few hands up. AJ. Unmute, my dear.
Pharmacist Ben, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, AJ.
Thank you, sir. How's your day going?
Even better than hearing you, I can actually see you.
Look at that.
And that's even better.
It's just a wonder of technology.
It's amazing. Yes.
Kathy says she wakes up every 2 hours throughout the night to urinate. Is that an estrogen problem? I take chromium to counteract the high sugar. Is that okay?
Chromium's great. I wouldn't say counteract the high sugar. It helps insulin work. So I wouldn't say counteract high sugar, but yes, it'll improve blood sugar. It's part of what's called the glucose tolerance factor, GTF, which is a complex of molecules in the blood that help the body handle sugar. And chromium is one of the components of the glucose tolerance factor. So it's niacin, by the way. And then going to the bathroom, yeah, probably involves a drop in estrogen. There's probably something related. It might involve histamine. It might involve irritation of the bladder somehow. I assume when she urinates, urine comes out. It's not like she just has an urge to urinate. And assuming that's the case, that actual urine comes out, it probably has to do with something triggering the bladder to initiate the urge to urinate. That could be irritation, inflammation. I'd want to know there's a lot of other questions I would want to ask.
Is there an estrogenic relationship to that?
Yeah, estrogen. When your estrogen drops, you become more prone towards histamine reactions. And this is one reason why women are more prone towards redness, rosacea, allergic reactions during when their estrogen drops perimenopausally or menopause. And that may have an effect on the bladder. I'm not saying it does. I'd want to know more. But yes, it could be a drop in estrogen could play a role there for sure.
Okay. I'm going to let Phyllis bring in all the questions from YouTube. Great to see you. And I will see you again on Monday.
Look forward to it. Yes.
Hello, Pharmacist Ben.
Hello, Phyllis. How are you?
I'm just right. And you know what I really enjoy is this deep dive into a topic.
You do? Okay.
I do.
I like it too. Of course,
I'm a nerd, and
you are a nerd. You are definitely, you qualify as a nerd. In fact, you might be a Hall of Fame nerd. You might be in the Hall of Fame of nerds. I am. I'm a charter member.
You're in there with me,
I
right?
am in there with you. Absolutely. Yes, I am.
All right. Well, NCC Golden on YouTube has lots of questions, and I think we'll get to them all. But first of all,
Yes.
let's say you're getting the IV vitamin C. What
Yes.
do we need to know if we're getting the right thing or the best quality?
You don't know about best quality. What do you mean by right thing? I don't know what that means.
The
Best
right kind. And I think you
right kind
answered
is
that.
yeah, the right kind is just plain old ascorbic acid,
Yeah.
ascorbate.
Right.
But as far as purity and you don't know. It is if it's IV, it has to be. There's certain standards that have to be met, FDA standards and such. So you can pretty much assume that you're not going to have a problem, but there's never 100%, and you are sticking stuff in the blood, but it's unlikely there'll be a problem, but there's no sure things.
Okay. Now, he also wants to know about dosage in terms of the minimum of vitamin C to get a day, to the
There's
maximum,
really
most beneficial.
There's no answer to that. Just like I said, remember how I said when an animal's under stress, it'll make more vitamin C. It just depends on your life. There's no answer to that. I know it would be nice. That's an answer for drugs. That's not an answer for nutrition. There's too much vagaries in nutrition. This is the reason why doctors find nutrition to be so problematic. There's not cut and dried criteria around dosages, around effects, around side effects. There's vagaries with it because nutrition, like human beings, it's not an exact science, unfortunately. So there's no real way to know. I would err on the side of more rather than less if it was me. So 1,000 milligrams to 5,000 milligrams. Linus Pauling very famously took 10,000 milligrams. The one thing about vitamin C, though, is you want it in divided doses. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to take a bunch all at once.
Well, in fact, I've heard that we should take vitamin C to bowel tolerance, is what they always say.
That's a little much because bowel tolerance means you're going to have bowel effects, and they're not pleasant.
So that would be overdosing, in other words.
It's not overdosing.
I'm using that drug term there, aren't
I
I?
wouldn't call it overdosing. I would just say it's too much. Maybe it's an overdose, I guess. I don't know about the semantics of it, but it's not a metabolic effect. It's a mechanical effect.
Got it.
It's sucking up water. It's not changing chemistry. Although by changing fluid balance, you are going to ultimately have a change in chemistry too. So I don't recommend taking super high doses all at once.
Okay. Now, can vitamin C help with spider veins and that kind of issue?
Not that it can help with spider veins. I don't want to think about it that way, although in a way it can. Spider veins are a sign of potential sign of collagen breakdown. And because vitamin C is the main player, as we say, the rate limiting step in collagen production, in that way it can support collagen, which will help with eliminate spider veins.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say it's like a treatment for spider veins.
Okay. And what about liposomal liquid vitamin C as an oral supplement?
Liposomal vitamin C is taking your vitamin C molecule and sticking it in a bubble. Remember Wizard of Oz? Remember the good witch in the Wizard of Oz? She came in a bubble.
Yeah.
Remember her? You're right. That's liposomal vitamin C. Vitamin C is blend of the good witch, and the bubble's a liposome. Sounds cute, and it is cute. The problem with liposomal vitamin C is vitamin C is very well handled by the body. You don't need to put it in a liposome internally. Taking it orally, goes right to work. There's transporters involved. It's a fundamental molecule. There's no real issue with vitamin C absorption that requires a liposome. And number two, you can't really put a lot of vitamin C in the bubble. The bubble limits the amount of vitamin C that you can actually put inside. It has a certain fixed size, has a fixed space for the vitamin C. You can't load it up. There's a limit to how much vitamin C you can put in there, which means your dose is going to be lower than it would if you just took straight vitamin C, which is handled just fine for the most part by the body. And on top of all that, it's way expensive. And vitamin C is one of the vitamin C's main benefits. It's so cheap.
Well, it sounds like we don't really need to take it that way. There's no
Much
discernible
ado.
benefit.
No, it's much ado about nothing.
It's trendy, in other words.
It's cute. I call it cute.
All right. Well, we made it through the questions. I will defer to AJ. Thank you so much.
Okay. Mr. Juice. One of the things I like, let me just say this real quick. One of the things I like about vitamin C is it really highlights a theme that I like to talk about, but we don't really talk about enough. And that is you don't have to be sick to benefit from nutritional supplementation. We are oftentimes talking to unhealthy people. You know, and then we have this model where people call about their health problems and we answer them with nutritional answers, right? And it's kind of a model that's been in place for a long time, but it leads people to believe that nutritional supplementation is to help you get better if you're sick. That's why people will ask this crazy question, how long do I stay on my nutritional supplements? You know what I mean? It's like this idea that these are used to treat diseases like medicine is. And then to compound the problem, we have this kind of this for that mentality. I call it this for that. I got this problem, I take that nutrient. And we play into it, we encourage it, and the model encourages it. It's been in place for a long time. So when we talk about vitamin C here, it's a really interesting and important idea because we're emphasizing how it's not just for heart disease, which it will help you with heart disease. It's not just for protecting your blood vessels, which it will help you for protecting your blood vessels. Not just for diabetics, which it will help you if you have diabetes. Not just for osteoporosis. By the way, ladies, vitamin C is way more important than estrogen for osteoporosis. Way. And way more important than calcium for osteoporosis. Way. It's not even close. And any doctor who tells you to puts you on a hormone for your osteoporosis before they tell you to start using vitamin C does not understand biochemistry. I'm being kind here. So this conversation about vitamin C is important because it highlights this idea that supplements are for healthy people, not just for sick people. We all need these, everybody. So you don't have to just deal as a longevity person, longevity rep, longevity distributor, you don't have to just deal with sick people. You want to talk to healthy people too, young people too. All of us need Beyond Tangy Tangerine, not just people who have arthritis or people who have cancer, people who have autoimmunity, etc. We all need it. Healthier, sick or healthy, or sick and healthy.
Pharmacist Ben, just real quick, Marilyn was mentioning a brand name of injection, and along with the different nutrients that are in there, there's also benzyl alcohol.
Benzyl alcohol, you mean?
Benzyl alcohol, sorry.
Yeah.
Is that something that's necessary or
yes.
tolerable in the?
Yes, it's very necessary because it kills bacteria and fungi. It has antimicrobial. It's an antimicrobial, but it's a very benign antimicrobial. Not very, relatively benign antimicrobial. Interestingly, there was some concern, logical concern a few years ago about the relationship between sodium benzoate and ascorbic acid. And it was shown in some research that one of the byproducts of the reaction between ascorbic acid and sodium benzoate is benzene. Now, and benzene is very, very toxic. Benzene is dry cleaning fluid. And benzene is very, 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 very carcinogenic. Dry cleaning fluid in general is carcinogenic. Funny story about benzene. When I worked for Blistex, one of my jobs, I was low man on the totem pole, college student and all. So one of my jobs was to wash the dishes. And let me tell you something. When you try to wash a beaker that somebody had made Blistex in, it ain't easy. The Blistex sticks to the glass, and it's very hard to get the Blistex off. And the Blistex is made with like really sticky fats, like lanolin. I don't know if you've ever seen lanolin, but it's really nasty. And it was all in the beakers, and my job was to clean it. So I had this clever idea to go get the benzene and clean it with benzene. And let me tell you, benzene cleans beakers like you wouldn't believe, like squeaky clean, cuts right through lanolin. It's dry. That's why these are for dry cleaning fluid. And Dr. Jones, the Blistex guy who was my boss, one day he saw me like washing the beakers with benzene, and he about had a heart attack. that I was using the benzene, because benzene is like one of the most carcinogenic,
Doctor, yeah.
nasty compounds you can on the planet, you know. And anyway, that's my benzene story. But it sure does cut through. You ever want to wash your dishes, man? Holy cow! Or your mirrors or your glassware. Benzene's amazing.
Okay, so now this injection from the same pharmaceutical company that is doing the injections, it says 500 milligrams per milliliter of preserved ascorbic acid.
That's the sodium benzoate is the preservative. What are you asking me?
No. Okay, so it says preserved ascorbic acid,
500
milligrams per milliliter.
All right, so what's a 10 millimeter jar or 5 millimeter jar? Or 1 millimeter?
It looks pretty tiny. It doesn't say how big.
It's anywhere from 1 to 10 milliliters.
So that's a high concentration?
Not really. 500 milligrams, you know, it's a capsule or a tablet is about 500 milligrams.
Per milliliter.
Right. If it's a 1 milliliter bottle, that means it has about 1 500 milligram tablet in there.
Right.
If it's a 10 milliliter bottle, that means it has 150. That means it has 10, 50. Then it has 500 milligrams. Each milliliter has 50 milligrams.
Bringing me to my question. So now the difference between drinking this vitamin C, injecting this vitamin C, or eating an orange, which may have 70 or 80.
Okay, so the comparison between the three?
Yes, sir.
All right, so first of all, ascorbic acid is very well handled by the body, but it's not perfectly handled by the body. And by handle, I mean gets into the blood through the digestive system. It's pretty well will get into the blood through the digestive system. However, if you have an inflamed intestine, less is going to get through if you have a degree of inflammation. So if you have any intestinal issues, which many people do, taking 500 milligrams doesn't mean 500 milligrams is going to go into your blood. You're going to lose some, right? It's going to come out of your stool or your urine, right? You with me?
Yes, absolutely.
If you take a orange, which has, I don't think it has 70, does it have 70 milligrams? I think it has more like
between 70 and 83.
I thought it was a lot less than that, but okay, let's say 70 or 83. That's right on off the tree. By the time you eat the orange, it's probably half as much. By the time it's been sitting on the shelf, if that. Vitamin C degrades very quickly. And so, again, if you have issues with the intestine, you're not going to get all the vitamin C. But because it's an orange now, it's not just a supplement. Now you got to digest it from the stomach. Now, it does get through the stomach pretty well, and it will go through the intestine pretty well, but not 100%. But you're also getting the cofactors, which are going to support its activity. So you got to factor that in as well. With the IV, it's right in the blood. You're not going to get the cofactors, but it's right in the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So that 500 milligram dose, that's going to be 500 milligrams in the blood.
Okay, and if you are injecting with vitamin C, what should you be consuming for the cofactors?
Citrus fruits,
oranges,
citrus, all the foods that contain vitamin C, plums, berries, citrus, organ, to a certain extent, organ meats, maybe liver. What else would be good sources of vitamin C? Living foods, green leafy vegetables. Living foods are your best sources of vitamin C. It's probably some in yeast, algae. Foods that have this life force. Vitamin C is associated with the life force. All vitamins are associated with the life force. And enzymes, vitamins are coenzymes, not all of them, but the vitamin C is a coenzyme. The B complex function is coenzymes. Vitamin C is more than a coenzyme, but coenzymes depend on life. Dead things don't have the same kind of living enzymes that or should I say processed foods. This is one of the problems with heating our foods and processing our foods. We lose the life force. We lose the enzymes. Now they do replace some of the nutrients back in, but you're still not getting the chi, the energy. And so vitamins are associated with that. And that's where you're going to find your most vitamin rich food, particularly the water soluble vitamins.
Okay, just real quick, would the selenium kick up only the glutathione or the vitamin C?
No, it might have some benefits for vitamin C, antioxidant C. Yeah, it goes well with vitamin C, I would say.
You know who the man is?
Who's the man? Me.
You're the man.
You're the man.
I'm the man. All right. Takes one to know one. To all of you kind people who say nice things about me, it takes one to know one. Do not ever forget that. My mother, She thinks I'm crazy. She thinks I need a psychiatrist. She offered to pay for it. She she said, "You need a psychiatrist badly. I will pay for it." So she doesn't appreciate my scintillating intellect as much as other people. But
And
I'm not picking on my mother. I'm just saying.
And she taught you.
No, I'm not picking on my mom. I'm just saying we only seen others what we have ourselves. So give yourself some props. Pats on the
There you
back.
go.
All of you.
Yes.
Everybody on this call. Everybody's interested in this.
Everybody.
Yes. Everybody who's interested in this
Give
kind of
yourself
stuff.
a hug.
Yes, you probably know many of your friends could care less. Right? Then that's another thing, by the way. That's what's cool about longevity, is you're hanging out with your peeps. Not everybody's like this, as you all know. Right? We're hanging out with our people. This is our tribe. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, Pharmacist Ben, we are past the top of the hour. We
Thank
have
you.
so many questions that did not get answered.
We're here on Monday. You
Continue
guys,
on Monday.
That's why I always tell you we should be taking questions right from the get-go.
Well, we
a good
should
topic.
take questions right from the get-go, but you have an important topic
I
that brought
thought
all
that-
these questions up.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I hear that.
And,
Okay.
one of the important questions that we did not get to is, and this is kind of a concern for those of us who are like promoting the amazing longevity products, is people running out and doing IVs instead of taking their supplements.
Nobody's going to go out and it's a pain in the butt to go get an IV, and it's much more costly. So I don't think using IV supports longevity. I don't think anybody's going to do an either or.
Can't get IV 90.
The IV 90. I like that.
No,
The
it doesn't exist.
Oh, the IV 90. That sounds good though.
Right.
The IV 90.
That would be a good cocktail.
That would be a good one. And by the way, IV is the ultimate way to get stuff into your blood. Drinking is another way to get stuff in your blood. Do you know what the next best way aside from IV to get stuff into your blood is?
Putting it on your skin?
Nope. I'll give you a clue. Longevity's got a new product they're going to be coming out with. Suppositories.
Oh no, stop lying.
Yes. No, the BTT suppository.
No, stop lying.
Yes, it's coming out very soon. Very soon. Yes. They're having a problem teaching people how to insert the thing though.
I'm sure you can have that class.
Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows how they're going to instruct people. That's the one problem. But they're working on it.
Volunteers?
They're working on it.
We'll have the video.
I don't know. That's just a rumor. I don't know that. For sure. That's just a rumor that I heard. It might not be right. It might not be true. But I did hear that.
Yeah. So I know with babies, suppositories, they do with different things. But I mean, that's like the closest place that everything comes out.
That's right. Well, it's also there's a lot of blood there. There's a lot of blood vessels. So stuff goes right into the blood. It's a
direct line to the blood.
The direct line to the blood. Exactly, like an IV.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to, they're testing them. If anybody's interested, right to AJ. Right to AJ. All right.
Well,
I'll talk to you on Monday.
and I have to agree with her. Thank God for Pharmacist Ben and everybody on this screen. Bye, Pharmacist Ben, and thank you everybody for spending more than an hour with us today as we were covering. I think we had a pretty interesting topic today, as we have so many questions we did not get to. And AJ, you're being knighted as the one to carry on this conversation on Monday with Pharmacist Ben, so you don't even have to think about a topic. You've already got it, buddy. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here on Daily with Doc and Becca. Again, my name is Becca Dukes, and I am so thankful that I do not have to do the show all by myself. People that you have on the screen right now are some of my best helpers in the world. We've got Albert letting people in as our gatekeeper. We have Phyllis, who is bringing in questions from YouTube. We have Marilyn, who's bringing in questions also of her very own and doing the dictation in the Zoom, which is only available in the chat here live with us. We have Mary, who's also bringing those questions in so that she and others can ask the questions. Mary, you can do it as well. But she's put them in our special chat so that we don't miss anything for future shows. And we have Ruth Allen, who is my executive production manager, who's helping to make sure the stream gets put out and there's video and there's audio and everything is working just right. And then we have AJ, who is part of the tech crew, helping to get everything set up and making sure that we are getting out where you are watching and listening. So if you're watching us or listening to on any social media platform, chances are it's his fault. So let's do a great big thank you for everyone who has taken the time to hear the message and act on it. And folks, if you want to be something bigger than yourself and be part of a team that is helping others thrive, make sure that you get back to the person that shared this program with you. They are part of an amazing community. And if you found this program on your own and you'd like to speak with a certified holistic health coach and become part of a community, you can either give us a call at 855-949-3377. This also includes those who would like to get on a program where they don't have to be injected, where they can take it easily, their nutrition easily each and every day, that's absorbable and have results, or be part of the solution. 855-949-3377. If you prefer to email, you can email info@dailywithdoc.com. info@dailywithdoc.com. Or if you have questions for the show or what you would need for helping support your body yourself, questions with an S at dailywithdoc.com. So until next time, everybody, don't forget, mark your calendars, Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific time. Pharmacist Ben Bites. Go to live.dailywithdoc.com or stream.dailywithdoc.com, as it is not a Zoom, but you can watch the live presentation and put your comments into the chat of your favorite platform. So until next time, thank you everybody for joining us. Have a fantastic day. And don't forget to go to our website, dailywithdoc.com, as this program is being sponsored by dailywithdoc.com, and sign up for our email list. Bye for now. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in Pathology, Naturopathic Doctor.